Just the light, my demons watching me. Playing spades with tarot cards, moon and stars like astrology. Reincarnated, so peep the style, homie. Been royal millions of years, they kept the crown from me. Started off in the root chakra, primordial waters. Like walking blindfolded, everything was dark. Saw the wickedness in the world and all the cold.
Peace, 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 family. How's everybody doing? I hope you all are having a wonderful morning so far. I'm recording this on the 23rd. It's almost Christmas now. I don't celebrate the holidays, but how y'all doing? You celebrate, you get together with your family and do all the fun festivities and stuff. I stopped celebrating a while ago, but it's still good to hear how people celebrate and what they think about and all that other good stuff. But anyways, my name is Keisha. I'm the owner of A Way of Life. I am a career and business coach using astrology. And today I'm going to be discussing Venus as the morning star and the evening star. And so, I've been doing a lot of studying and learning all these new different things. And as we have this long transit in Venus, I've been kind of challenging myself to come up with different ways of talking about Venus and hopefully giving everybody different perspectives on how Venus is going to show up for you during this time. So I'd love to hear people's opinions on this. I do know that, if you might be a religious person, some stuff like this you might not actually want to hear. So I do have the astrological perspective of this as well. And I'll do that first so that people who may not want to hear the mythology of it, you are more than welcome to skip that part at that time. But I found it very interesting. I didn't know it. It's my first time learning about it. And I hope that some other people find it interesting too. Family, I will be going live on Queen Dawn's page tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're interested, please make sure you're following her over there. Check us out. We'll be discussing part 2 of the app that she has for the scanning of your body for the root chakras and understanding your health and a whole bunch of other stuff she has on there. This app is wicked cool. I've been using it and following it since the last live that we did, and I promise you I've noticed some pretty significant changes in my attitude. I'm happier, and I'm not worried about some stuff. So actually I had I had the opportunity to do the winter solstice ceremony with the class that I do last night, and that was it really just added to the love and joy and appreciation that I'm feeling for this time. I'm really grateful, and I'm looking forward to the next chapter in my life. Did you guys celebrate the winter solstice? How did you celebrate? What did you do? I'd love to hear from everybody. All right, let's get into it. So Venus is currently the evening star shining bright in the sky. Venus will conjunct the sun and become combust, meaning she's no longer visible due to the sun. The sun is like the brightest star in the sky. And whenever a planet is super close to the sun, it typically overpowers whatever other planet or star is next to it. And so at this time, you may not be able to see Venus. And this is going to happen on the 9th of January, it's said that we lose the benefits of that planet, which is love, money, beauty, and sex during this time. Unfortunately, this can be a trying time for everybody, honestly, but especially for women. But overall, this can be in the form of Capricorn themes, like bosses giving you a hard time, authority figures giving you a hard time, governmental figures giving you a hard time, father figures giving you a hard time, and perhaps adding more responsibilities to what you already have to do. I actually can see that happening a lot to people, especially if people are continuously quitting their job. Which I can see this actually leading to more of that. And again, you have to remember, Capricorn is all about value, on the higher vibration. And if you feel like you're not being valued and you're having to do more work because there's less workers, that could cause some problems. So I can see more responsibilities at work at this time, or authority figures or governmental figures might need to make their quota, so they start, putting their foot down a little bit, or in some way, shape, or form, something comes up in a way to make restrictions. We get more restrictions somehow, some way for this, for some reason. And when I thought about father figures, I was thinking, like, not everybody has problems with their fathers, but this kind of made me think of, like, maybe perhaps a father that might have passed, and you have to live in the shadow of their legacy, and it's some pretty big shoes to fill. And either you could feel like it opposes your purpose or mission in life, right? Because Capricorn is always about doing the work that you're meant to do in this lifetime. And so there could be some discord there, and maybe perhaps you becoming the boss within yourself in some way, and you kind of let go of that responsibility at this time. And if it's not a father, it could definitely just be somebody that you look up to, or something of that nature, that you're just breaking free from at this time, and standing in your own, and choosing to stand in your own power. This could be more responsibilities in life in general as a mom, especially single moms, but it doesn't have to be. And forced to be more disciplined somehow, some way, around boundaries, especially when it comes to love, money, beauty, and sex. And so I don't know if anybody was able to catch the video that I did titled "Please Let Me Explain" in my Kevin Hart voice. I don't know if anybody's seen that comedian show that he did. But that's kind of this is my version of that. Because I had kind of made like an off-the-wall comment about men on on the show that I did with Tiara. And of course, immediately after I said that stupid comment, I wanted to take it back because I didn't mean it in the way that it came out. But really just thinking about love from an economic perspective, and how much it can change, like how much it can make a difference in the community by women putting up more boundaries. in relation to like how men are just, not all men, obviously, but gosh, they're just a decent name for it is just they're not stepping up to the plate, right? And of course, there's 1,001 reasons to why that's happening that needs to be taken into consideration before making an accusation like that, right? We know that we're not being educated to our fullest potential. So there are a lot of things that we don't know as a people. And it's really preventing us from being our better selves, right? But I don't know if anybody remembers that Spike Lee movie that he did with Beyonce. It was like a musical, really. It wasn't even a movie. And he did this movie when all that protesting was going on with like the Khalif Broader and Mike Brown and all that stuff. I don't know if anybody really remembers. I don't remember who was the first person who died from like some kind of brutality. I don't even think it was a police officer though. It was some guy. And he got off or whatever, and then that led to like more police brutality cases and stuff. And Khalif Broader was, he was locked up and got it. But I feel like at that point they were kind of protesting for both those two. And I don't know if anybody caught that movie that, you know, she was saying that sex, holding back sex, would help men be more, you know, hold them accountable for their actions so that they're not out here doing all this crazy stuff. Because they say, you know, the reason why men do anything is for women, you know, even though we might not see it that way. And this is an age-old story that has been said between men and women. This is nothing new, but I'm wondering if it went over people's head. But, you know, it's a woman's responsibility to hold a man responsible for his actions through withholding sex and, you know, not jumping into relationships the way that we do and, you know, things of that nature. And so I kind of thought of this when I was writing for this part of the Venus energy. And I think that as we're going through this Venus retrograde, we're going to be forced to kind of think about how we enact those things within our life, right? So this will be happening between January 3rd and the 16th. Venus will be in retrograde, so be mindful what you wish for, but this is a great time to make a wish as she starts her new cycle and becomes the morning star. So now I'm going to get into the mythology between Venus morning star and evening star, the difference of it. So again, if it's not something you're interested, you could feel free to kind of tune out at this point. But the way the mythology is based on is Lucifer was the light bringer. And Lucifer morning star, if you know your religion, right? That was his whole name, Lucifer morning star. He had other names and connections to Poseidon and Enki in the mythology, but Venus is the morning star in retrograde this time around. It won't always be when she's in retrograde. It changes up from time to time. And Lucifer is the son of the god Aurora, the goddess of the dawn, and Syphilis, which was his father. These are his parents. He was known as the herald of the dawn, i.e. the morning star. March of 2021, Lucifer disappeared and became the evening star. This is the story of how Lucifer fell from grace, and he's falling from the morning star and becoming the evening star. Now, if you checked out my video I did on the winter solstice, this is a very similar story. This is the reason, just another reason why when I heard this, I was like, oh, I got to talk about this, because it's very interesting how, you know, we have these similar stories of the gods falling from grace, coming down here to earth to have a human experience due to something that they have done out of order, I guess maybe is a good way to say it, you know, something that they kind of disrespected Zeus in some way, because Zeus was the god of obviously, you know, of pretty much everybody. But Christianity kind of took that story and demonized Lucifer. And so, you know, if you've been listening to me for a long time, I've been telling everybody it's not what they thought. And there's a show that I referred everybody to called Lucifer, who does, I mean, they do a really superb story line telling this story in that show. I mean, whoever did that knew their stuff for real. I was very impressed. But if you haven't checked it out and these types of things don't freak you out, it tells you from beginning to end, it tells you everything. It's so dope. But the sun represents our ego. He represents the center of the kingdom. And so in this sense, the sun is taking the place of the god here, the god being Zeus. So when Venus goes Cazimi, the conjunction that we're having that I talked about in the beginning of this live, it's like Lucifer going before God, challenging him that he can be a god, right? Remember, if anybody remembers the story, that's why Lucifer got demonized in Christianity, is because he challenged God and said that I can be just as good as you, you know? And even in mythology, Lucifer is known for having an ego, right? They have different stories where he's, you know, he's kind of a little cocky, you know? And so what we don't know, or some may not know, is that Lucifer was returned to grace and forgiven and became the morning star again. And so when we're having this evening star, morning star storyline being played out celestial in the sky, that's what we're seeing here. So at the times that you cannot see Venus in the sky and he's become invisible, he has fallen, you know, and become the evening star. And in the times when he does become visible, which will be on the 9th this time around, he's going up against the god and being forgiven to become the morning star. And it represents a new Venus cycle, which will happen officially on January 16th. And this is an example of forgiveness, restoration, and love. And I think it's important that we know the true story, the whole story, the full story, and not just demonize or vilify Lucifer because of this fact, is that we miss the point that, you know, like people will go living through their life, like having these kind of episodes where things happen to them and they think for the longest time they beat themselves up, like I'm never going to be you know, like they kind of have this traumatic experience of feeling bad for themselves and not being hopeful. when we should be given to one another. We should remember that we can fall from grace because of our ego, and we can also be restored. We can make choices that cause us to fall down. Maybe life doesn't work out the way, the way we would want them to, right? Things fall apart and we lose our place of glory, but things can change and we can be restored and rise from the ashes, And I thought that was just an amazing thing. Like, I didn't know that. It certainly inspired me to think differently about things that I've gone through, and I wish that I had them sooner. I wish I knew this knowledge sooner and it wasn't kind of vilified, hidden, and kept from us the way that it is, But for all my astrology students who want to learn more about Venus and you want to know whether or not you're a morning star or an evening star, it's as simple as knowing whether or not in your chart, if Venus comes before the sun, wherever the sun is, it doesn't matter. It just matters when you count from the first house all the way up until the sun. Does Venus come before the sun or after the sun? If it comes before the sun, you are considered a morning star, a Venus morning star. If it comes after the sun, you are a Venus evening star. And there were a whole bunch of different keywords to describe the differences between the two. And I didn't get into all of that because I'm really trying to do better at keeping these videos super short. And I will say all the differences in a nutshell is a morning star are emotionally a lot stronger. They tend to get over things quicker. They don't take them to heart and they can move on. An evening star will hold on to emotional issues, and it takes them a lot longer to get through things and when it comes to their emotions. And so they might have to do a lot more work to get through this time. So I'd say specifically during this time for evening star people, don't be afraid to get some help and talk to people. And, people who are a lot stronger and don't kind of suffer from these things, reach out to your friends, check up on them, your loved ones, make sure that people are doing okay during this time. And as usual, family, I love and appreciate every single one of you. I hope that you found this information helpful. Peace.